Hello, my friend. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a life that's just fantastic.
You're healthy, you're learning new things every day, and you have so many chances to make your dreams come true. Sounds amazing, right?
Now let's open our eyes and think about our amazing country, India. What does it really mean for India to become a developed nation?
Think beyond those tall buildings that touch the sky or super fast cars zooming on the roads. True development is like making sure every single person in India, yes, even you, is doing well.
Imagine it like a big family. If only one or two members are happy and healthy, is the whole family truly happy? No, right? Similarly, for India to be truly developed, every single one of us needs to have a good life.
So get ready. In this video, we're going on an exciting adventure to understand what this big word, development, really means, how we can see if we're on the right track, and what our big goals should be for a super bright future for all of us.
My dear friend, have you ever sat and dreamt about what you want to become when you grow up?
Maybe you see yourself as a super smart doctor helping people, a brilliant engineer building amazing things, a teacher inspiring young minds like yours, or perhaps even a cool entrepreneur starting your own made in India company or business.
Just like you have these personal dreams, our country, India, also has big dreams for progress, and we call this development.
Think of development as a giant project with lots of different parts, like making the best ever biryani.
You need fragrant rice, tasty vegetables, or meat, the perfect blend of spices, and then you cook it all together to create something delicious for everyone.
Similarly, development is about making life better for everyone in India.
It makes us think about some really important questions, like what are the basic things that every single person needs to live a good life, like enough food, clean water, and a safe place to live.
Can everyone in our huge country have a fair chance to succeed and be happy? And how can we all live together with more fairness and equality, just like in a good cricket team where everyone gets a chance to bat or bowl?
Imagine building your dream house. You need strong bricks, sturdy cement, shiny tiles, and so many other things to make it a comfortable and beautiful home, right?
In the same way, our country needs many things to become truly developed. This chapter is just the first step in understanding this fascinating idea, and you'll learn even more cool stuff about it as you go to higher classes.
You'll also see that thinking about development isn't just for economics class. It's also a part of our history, because our past has shaped where we are today.
And it's super important in political science because it's through our democratic system where everyone's voice matters that we can work together to make these dreams of development a reality.
First, think about a hardworking laborer in a village who doesn't own any land. What do you think their biggest dream might be?
Maybe it's to have more days of work so they can earn enough money, and for their children to go to good schools right there in their village.
Perhaps they also dream of a place where everyone is treated with respect, and they even have a chance to become leaders in their community.
Now imagine a farmer from Punjab who has green fields and plenty of crops. What could their dream be?
Maybe it's to get really good prices for all the hard work they put into growing those crops, to have people who can help them in the fields without costing too much, and to see their children get amazing opportunities, maybe even studying in another country.
What about a farmer who depends only on the rain for their fields? Imagine the worry when the rains don't come.
Their biggest hope might be for better ways to water their fields, like canals or wells, so they don't have to constantly worry about their crops drying up.
Now let's think about a girl from a family that owns land in a village. Just like her brother, she might also dream of having the freedom to choose what she wants to do with her life.
Maybe she wants to study further, or start a business, or even travel abroad, the same chances her brother might have.
Imagine a young person in a city who is looking for a job. What would make them happy?
Probably finding a good job that gives them a steady income so they can support themselves and also feel like they are doing something meaningful.
Think about a boy from a wealthy family in a city. What might he wish for? Maybe it's to get the best education possible and have all the latest cool gadgets and technology.
Now, consider a girl from that same wealthy family. Just like the girl in the village, she might also want the freedom to make her own choices about her education, her career, and her life, without anyone telling her what she can or cannot do.
Finally, imagine one of our Adivasi brothers or sisters living in the beautiful Narmada Valley. What might development mean to them?
It could be about protecting their precious forests, their unique culture, and their traditional way of life, which might be in danger if big projects like dams are built.
See, my friend, each of these people living in different situations across our incredible India has a different idea of what progress or development means.
It's because everyone has their own unique needs, dreams, and what's most important to them in their lives.
And here's something super important to remember. Sometimes, what one person or a group of people thinks is development can actually cause problems for others.
For example, factory owners might want more big dams to create more electricity for their factories. But these big dams could flood the homes and lands of our tribal brothers and sisters, forcing them to leave their homes.
What the factory owners see as progress might be very harmful to the Adivasi people who might prefer smaller ways to get water for their farms that don't take away their homes.
So, always remember these two big ideas.
Different people can have very different goals for development.
What might seem like development for one person might not be development for another, and it could even be harmful or destructive for them.
Now, let's go back to thinking about all those dreams we just imagined. Did you notice something that almost everyone wished for?
Almost everyone wanted regular work to earn money, better pay for their hard work, and good prices if they were selling things they grew or made.
Simply put, they wanted more paisa in their pockets.
But is money the only thing that makes life good? Let's think a little deeper, my friend.
Besides wanting more money, don't we all also want to be treated fairly, with respect? We want to feel safe and free, right? Nobody likes it when someone treats them badly just because they are different.
These things, like being treated equally, having freedom, feeling safe, and getting respect from others, are also super important goals in our lives.
In fact, sometimes these things that you can't touch or buy with money can be even more important than just having a lot of rupees.
Because we need more than just things we can buy to have a truly happy and fulfilling life.
Think about your best buddies. You want their friendship, don't you? You can't go to a shop and buy friendship, but it's something that makes you really happy.
There are so many things like that in life. Things like love, care, and a sense of belonging. They are hard to measure in numbers, but they mean the world to us, and sometimes we forget how important they are.
Imagine you get a job offer in a city very far away from your home.
They are offering you a very high salary, lots and lots of money. Would you just pack your bags and go without thinking about anything else?
Probably not. You would also think about whether there are good schools for your younger brother or sister, what it's like to work in that office, and if you will have chances to learn new things and grow as a person.
Similarly, another job might not pay as much, but it promises that your job will be there for a long time, making you feel secure about your future, like having a strong roof over your head during the monsoon.
Yet another job might give you a huge salary, but no guarantee of how long it will last, and it might keep you so busy that you don't even have time to play with your family or friends.
That might make you feel worried and not so free, even with all that money.
So, when we talk about development, we're looking at a mix of goals, just like mixing all the right ingredients to make a delicious dish.
It's true that when women work and earn money, they often get more respect in their families and in society, like being treated as equal members in a family discussion.
But it's also true that if women are already respected in a community, then everyone will share the housework more, and more people will be okay with women working outside their homes.
If our streets and neighborhoods are safe, then more women will feel comfortable going out to work, or even starting their own small businesses, like opening a little tailoring shop or a food stall.
Therefore, remember this. The goals people have for development are not just about earning more money.
They are also about all those other important things that make our lives richer, happier, and more meaningful.
We've talked about what development means for different people. Now, let's zoom out and think about our entire country, India.
Just like each of us has our own dreams, what should be India's big dream? What should we, as a nation, aim for to become a truly developed country?
If you were to ask all your classmates right now, what should India do to become more developed? I bet you'd get a whole bunch of different and exciting answers.
You yourself might have tons of ideas bubbling in your mind, and maybe you're even wondering which idea is the best one.
It's super important to remember that just like individuals have different dreams, different people in our country can also have very different and sometimes even opposite ideas about what national development should look like.
Now, here's a really important question. Are all these different ideas equally important?
If we have different goals that clash with each other, how do we decide which path to take?
What would be a fair and just way forward for everyone in India, from the mountains of Himachal to the beaches of Tamil Nadu?
We also need to think carefully about whether a particular idea will help a large number of people or just a small group of privileged individuals.
Thinking about all these questions carefully is what national development is all about.
Imagine a picture in a newspaper of a place in India that really needs development. What should be the first things we focus on in such a place?
Should we build good roads first so people can travel and trade easily, like the Grand Trunk Road? Or should we build schools first so every child gets a chance to learn and shine, like the Gurukuls of ancient times?
Or maybe hospitals should be the priority so everyone has access to good health care, like the community health centers we see growing across India?
Different people will have different opinions based on what they need most urgently in their lives.
Think about a news report you might have seen about a big new factory being built somewhere.
Some people might be really happy because it will create new jobs and help the economy grow, like the industrial hubs in Gujarat or Maharashtra.
But other people might be worried because the factory might take away their farmland or cause pollution in their rivers and air. So, who really benefited from this project and who faced losses?
And what should be the overall goal for our country's development in such a situation? Should we prioritize economic growth even if it harms the environment or displaces people?
Think about your own village, town, or city right here in beautiful Shimla. What are some things that you think are really important for its progress? Maybe better public transport, cleaner water, or more green spaces.
Sometimes these ideas about what development means can be so different and conflicting that there can be big disagreements about the best way to achieve it.
Have you ever heard about a controversy around a development project, maybe a new road that needed many trees to be cut down, making people worried about the environment, or a new building that caused a lot of traffic jams in your city?
Different people will have different arguments for and against such projects. And it's important to listen to all sides, just like in a panchayat meeting.
My friend, if development can mean so many different things to different people, how on earth do we decide which countries have really progressed and which ones still have a long way to go?
Before we get to countries, let's think about something closer to home, your own classroom.
Look around at your classmates. You'll see that everyone is unique, right? Some are taller, some are shorter.
Some are super sporty, while others might be amazing artists. The student who is the tallest might not be the best at solving tricky math problems.
The one who always gets top marks might be a little shy when it comes to making new friends. So, how do we compare all of you?
Well, the way we compare depends on what we're trying to achieve. If we want to pick a kabaddi team, we'll look at how strong and agile you are.
For a debate competition, we'll listen to how well you can speak and argue your points.
If we're forming a music group, we'll see who can sing or play an instrument beautifully.
And if we're planning a class picnic, we'd want students who are good at working together and making sure everyone has fun.
Similarly, if we want to see how well all the students in your class are doing overall, we might look at several important things.
But what are the most important things? Is it how friendly you are? How well do you work with others in group projects?
How creative are you in your drawings? Or is it just about getting good marks in your exams? Different people might have different ideas about this too.
It's the same when we talk about how developed a country is. When we compare different countries, one of the most important things we often look at is how much money, on average, the people in that country earn.
Countries where people generally earn more are often considered more developed than countries where people earn less.
The idea behind this is simple. If people have more income, they can usually afford more of the things they need and want, like good food, warm clothes for Shimla's winters, a comfortable home, good education for their children, and proper healthcare when they are unwell.
So, having a higher income is seen as an important step towards a better life.
Okay, so we know that income is an important way to compare how developed countries are.
Now, how do we actually figure out the income of a country? Well, if we add up all the money earned by every single person living in that country, that gives us the total income of the entire country. Makes sense, right?
However, just knowing the total income doesn't really give us the full picture, especially when we want to compare big countries like India with smaller countries like, say, Bhutan.
Why? Because India has a huge population, so many of us. A country might have a very large total income just because it has a lot of people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that each person is earning a lot.
The money might be spread very unevenly.
To get a much better idea of how well the average person is doing in a country, we calculate something called the average income.
Think of it like this. If you wanted to know how many sweets each of your friends would get if you had a big box of ladoos to share equally, you would divide the total number of ladoos by the number of friends.
Similarly, to find the average income of a country, we take the total income of the entire country and divide it by the total number of people living there, its total population.
This average income is also known as per capita income, which simply means income per person.
The World Bank, which is like a big international organization that studies development around the world, uses this per capita income as one of the main ways to group countries in their yearly World development reports.
Back in 2019, they said that countries where the average person earned $49,300 or more per year were called high income or rich countries.
And countries where the average person earned $2,500 or less per year were called low income countries. India in 2019 had a per capita income of around $6,700 per year, which puts us in the category of low middle income countries.
Generally, these rich countries, except for some special cases in the Middle East and some very small countries, are often called developed countries.
Think about how we use averages in other parts of life too. For example, your cricket coach might calculate the average runs scored per over by our Indian team in a match to see how consistently they were scoring.
Or, in Dharmashala, we might look at the average rainfall during the monsoon season to understand how much rain we usually get.
Your class teacher might calculate the average marks of all the students in a test to see how well the whole class performed.
Average income is considered a really important way to get a general idea of the living standards of people in a country.
If the average income is high, it suggests that most people in that country have the potential to afford basic necessities like roti, dal, chawal, and a roof over their heads. And they might also have more opportunities for a better future, like going to good colleges or getting good healthcare.
My friend, while knowing the average income of a country is like getting a general score in a cricket match, it doesn't tell us everything about how each player performed, right?
Similarly, just looking at the average income of a country can sometimes hide big differences in how rich or poor people actually are.
Imagine two small villages, Village A and Village B, and in each village there are only 5 families.
In Village A, the monthly earnings of the 5 families are 9,500 rupees, 10,500 rupees, 9,800 rupees, 10,000 rupees, and 10,200 rupees.
It's like everyone in the village is earning roughly the same amount. They can all probably afford similar things.
Let's consider Village B. Here, the monthly incomes of the 5 families are 500 rupees, 500 rupees, 500 rupees, 500 rupees, and a significant 48,000 rupees.
In this village, 4 families are struggling financially, while one family is very wealthy, perhaps because they own the largest store in the nearby town.
If you calculate the average income for both Village A and Village B, guess what? It comes out to be the same, 10,000 rupees. But would you be equally happy to live in either of these villages? Probably not.
In Village A, everyone has a decent income, and there isn't a huge gap between the rich and the poor.
Life would likely be quite similar for most people. But in Village B, 4 out of the 5 families have very low incomes. They might be worried about putting food on the table or sending their children to school.
Only one family is living a very comfortable life.
Even though the average income is the same for both villages. Village A seems much better because the income is shared more equally.
In Village B, most people are poor, even though the average looks good because of that one very rich family.
This shows us that while average income is a useful tool to get a quick idea, it doesn't tell us how that income is spread out among all the people.
To really understand how developed a place is, we need to look at other things as well. My friend, remember when we were thinking about our own dreams and goals? We realized that we care about more than just having lots of money.
We also want to feel safe when we are out, be treated with respect by everyone, have the same opportunities as others, and feel free to make our own choices, right?
Well, It's the same when we think about how our country or even a state within our country is developing. We shouldn't just look at the average income.
We also need to consider other important things that make life good for everyone.
So what could these other important things be? Let's look at some real examples from our own country.
Table 1.3 shows the average income of 3 states in India for the year 2018 to 19: Haryana, Kerala, and Bihar.
It tells us that Haryana had the highest average income, 2,36,147 rupees per person, while Bihar had the lowest, 40,982 rupees per person.
If we just looked at these numbers, we might think Haryana is the most developed and Bihar the least developed of these three.
But now, let's look at some other information in Table 1.4. It shows us something called the infant mortality rate, IMR, the literacy rate, and the net attendance ratio at the secondary stage for these same 3 states.
Infant mortality rate, IMR, is a way of counting how many young lives are lost. It tells us how many children out of every 1,000 babies born sadly pass away before they even reach their first birthday.
In 2018, Kerala had a very low IMR of only 7. That's really good. But Haryana had an IMR of 30 and Bihar had 32.
Think about that for a moment. Even though Haryana had a higher average income than Kerala, more babies were dying in Haryana within their first year. That must be incredibly heartbreaking for those families.
Literacy rate tells us what percentage of people who are 7 years old and above can read and write.
In 2017 to 18, Kerala had a very high literacy rate of 94%. Almost everyone could read and write. Haryana had 82%, which is also good, but Bihar lagged behind at 62%.
Net attendance ratio shows us what percentage of children between the ages of 14 and 15 are actually going to school.
In 2017 to 18, in Kerala, 83% of these children were in school. In Haryana, it was 61%, and in Bihar, it was only 43%.
That means in Bihar, more than half of the children who should have been in classes 9 and 10 were not attending school.
So, even though Haryana has a higher average income than Kerala, Kerala is doing much better when it comes to making sure babies survive and that more people can read and write.
This makes us wonder, why is this happening? What are the other things Kerala might be doing right, even with a lower average income?
The PPP part means that the money has been adjusted to show what it can actually buy in each country. For example, 100 rupees might buy you more samosas in India than it would in Switzerland.
Then there's life expectancy at birth. This is like a prediction of how many years a baby born in that country is expected to live on average.
Next, we have mean years of schooling of people aged 25 and above.
This tells us the average number of years of education that adults, people who are 25 years or older in that country, have completed.
Finally, there's the HDI rank in the world, 2021 to 22. HDI stands for Human Development Index, and it's a special score that is calculated using all the things we just talked about: income, health, and education.
Countries with a higher rank, closer to number 1, are considered to have better human development.
Now, if we look at this table, we would see that our neighbor Sri Lanka has a much better HDI rank, 73, than India, 132.
Sri Lanka also has a higher GNI per capita. Their people are expected to live longer, higher life expectancy, and adults there have spent more years in school on average compared to India.
Isn't it a bit surprising that a small country like Sri Lanka is doing better than a big country like India in many of these important things?
The table also shows that even Nepal and Bangladesh, which have lower average incomes than India, have a better life expectancy than India.
The Human Development Report really makes it clear that when we talk about development, what's most important is what's happening to the people of a country, their health and their overall well-being.
Now, think for a moment. Do you think there are other things that should also be considered when we measure how well people are developing?
What about things like how clean our air and water are, environmental quality, whether people have the freedom to speak their minds and choose their leaders, political freedom, and whether girls and boys, women and men have equal opportunities in everything they do, gender equality.
These are all very important too, aren't they?
Now, imagine our amazing country, India, becomes really developed. Everyone has good schools, good hospitals, earns well, and lives happily.
Wouldn't we want this goodness to continue for our children and their children too, like a never-ending Diwali celebration?
That's what sustainable development is all about. Making progress in a way that doesn't spoil things for the future generations.
But scientists have been saying, hey, the way we are developing right now might not be so sustainable. It's like eating too many jalebi. It feels good now, but it might not be good for your health in the long run.
Let's look at two important examples right here in India.
Example 1, our precious groundwater.
Think about the water we use every day for drinking, for our farms, for everything. A lot of this comes from under the ground, our groundwater.
But in many parts of India, we are using this groundwater way too fast. In about 300 districts, imagine that many. The water level has gone down by more than 4 meters in just the last 20 years.
It's like we're emptying our water tank much faster than the rain can refill it. Almost 1/3 of our country is using more groundwater than the rain puts back in.
If we keep doing this, in another 25 years, about 60% of India could be facing the same problem. Why are we using so much groundwater? Mostly because we need it for watering our crops and for all our other needs, and we're using it faster than nature can refill it.
It's like spending your pocket money faster than your parents give it to you.
Can we make progress without using up all our groundwater?
Absolutely. We need to find smarter ways to use water, like using drip irrigation in our farms instead of just flooding the fields, and finding ways to recharge the groundwater, like building more ponds and rainwater harvesting systems, just like how we save rainwater during the monsoons.
Groundwater is a renewable resource, which means it can get refilled naturally.
But even renewable things, like the wood from trees, can be used up if we use them faster than they can grow back. Think about some really important things in life, my friend. Like having clean water to drink, good schools to study in, or feeling safe in your neighborhood.
Sometimes the best and even the cheapest way to have these things is when we all work together to provide them.
Let's take an example of Chandigarh. Imagine if every single house in the lane had to hire their own security guard.
That would be super expensive for each family, right? But what if the whole neighborhood came together and hired a common security system or a watchman for everyone?
That would definitely cost less for each family and probably make the whole area safer.
Now think about education. What if nobody else in your village cared about studying? Would you still be able to go to a good school?
Maybe if your parents had enough money to send you to a private school far away, perhaps even down the winding roads to a bigger town.
But usually, we get to study in schools right here because many other children also want to learn, and because many people believe that our government should build schools and provide teachers so that every child, whether they live near Mall Road or in a remote village, gets a chance to learn and shine.
Even today, you might hear that in some places, especially girls, are not able to continue their studies after a certain class because there aren't enough good high schools provided by the government or the community nearby.
Think about when a new baby is born. They need basic health care, like getting their vaccinations on time to stay healthy.
Would it be easier for each family to try and figure out all the vaccines and doctors on their own? Or is it better to have public health centers like the ones you might see in your town, where everyone can go and get these important services?
It's definitely easier and often better when these facilities are available for everyone.
Remember, we talked about Kerala having a low infant mortality rate. One of the big reasons for that is that Kerala has a good system of public health centers and schools that are easily accessible to most people.
Similarly, in some states in India, you might have heard about the Public Distribution System, PDS, where the government helps provide essential food grains like rice and wheat at lower prices through ration shops.
This system helps many families get enough food and stay healthy.
Think about other things that are better when we provide them together.
Having beautiful public parks where everyone can relax and play, keeping our streets and public spaces clean for everyone to enjoy, or having a police force to keep us safe are all examples of things we do collectively.
Does having good hospitals and schools just depend on how much money the government spends? Not entirely.
It also depends on how well that money is used, whether these facilities are easy for everyone to reach, and how good the services provided actually are.
Imagine a study that found that in Tamil Nadu, a lot of people in villages used the ration shops, part of the PDS, to get their food, while in another state, very few people used them.
Where do you think people would be better off in terms of having enough food? And why? It's likely in Tamil Nadu because more people are benefiting from the system that provides affordable food. My friend, now that we know that just counting money isn't enough to say how developed a country is, we need to think about other important things too.
There could be a long list of things we could consider, but if we have too many, it might get confusing, like having too many spices in your sabzi.
So, it's better to focus on a few of the most important ones. And guess what? Good health and good education are definitely at the top of that list.
Over the last 10 to 15 years, looking at people's health and how much education they are getting has become a common way, along with income, to measure how developed a country is.
For example, there's a very important report called the Human Development Report that is published every year by a big organization called the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP.
This report compares different countries based on how educated their people are, how healthy they are, and what their average income is.
It would be super interesting to see some of the information about India and some of the countries around us from the Human Development Report of 2021 to 2022, which is shown in Table 1.6.
In that table, you would see different things listed for each country.
First, there's something called Gross National Income, GNI, per capita, 2017 PPP dollars.
This is kind of like the average income we talked about, but it also includes the money earned by people from that country, even if they are working in another country.
Example 2. Running out of natural treasures.
Now, let's think about things like crude oil, the black gold that we get from under the earth.
These are non-renewable resources. Once we use them up, they're gone because it takes millions of years for them to form.
We have a limited amount of them on our planet. We might find new places to dig for oil, but eventually we will run out.
Table 1.7 gives us an idea of how much crude oil different parts of the world had in 2017 and how many more years it's expected to last if we keep using it at the same speed.
The table shows that the world's crude oil might only last for about 50 more years, different countries have different amounts.
Countries like India don't have much oil of our own, so we have to buy it from other countries.
If the price of oil goes up in the world, it affects the price of petrol and diesel here, and that affects all of us.
Some countries that don't have much oil might even try to use their army or their money power to get oil from other places.
Is crude oil important for development? Yes, it's used to run our cars and buses, in factories, and for making many other things. It's like the fuel that keeps many parts of our economy running.
India buys a lot of crude oil from other countries. What problems might India face if the world's oil starts to run out, or if the prices keep going up?
It could become super expensive for India to buy oil, which would hurt our economy and make life difficult for many people.
India would need to find other ways to get energy, like solar power or wind power, harnessing the power of the sun and the wind right here in our beautiful country.
This whole question of sustainability makes us think about what development really means.
We need to find ways to grow and progress that don't harm our environment and don't use up all our natural resources, so that our future generations can also enjoy a good life.
Remember, the damage we do to the environment in one country can affect others too. Our futures are all connected, like the threads in a beautiful Banarsi sari.
Sustainable development is a new and important area where scientists, economists, and thinkers are all working together to find solutions.
Let's always remember this wise saying, we have not inherited this earth from our ancestors, we have borrowed it from our children.
This means we have a big responsibility to take care of our planet and its resources so that our children and their children can also enjoy them, just like we do.
So, my dear friend, we've taken quite a journey together to understand this big idea called development.
We've seen that it's not just about how much paisa a country has.
It's also about whether everyone is healthy, whether everyone gets a chance to learn, whether everyone is treated fairly, and whether we have a safe and clean environment to live in, not just for us today, but for all the young minds who will come after us.
This journey of development is like a long road ahead, and every single one of us has an important role to play in making sure it leads to a better future for all.
Got any questions? Ask in the comments below. We are here to help. Subscribe for more, and let's keep learning together. That's a wrap. Now go out there and amaze the world with what you've learned. See you in the next one.